Okay, I'm going to give you a couple nuggets. It's going to perfectly segue into the topic at hand. Okay, in 2012, there was a project called the ENCODE study, and this was an exploration into human DNA. Prior to this study, 20% of human makeup through DNA was deemed junk. Scientists could not figure out what the purpose of this 20% of DNA actually was all about. They didn't understand it, so they just said, it's garbage, it's nothing, leave it alone, it's junk. Here comes some new scientists who are like, we want to re-examine that 20%. So they re-examine and they find out that no, the design of this is remarkable, and though they still fully cannot unpack the capabilities or the purposes of that DNA, they have renamed it from junk DNA to God DNA. Now, is this because of human ignorance, that we just didn't know that we are magnificently designed by a creator? It could be human ignorance. Could it be purposefully withheld from us because the principalities on this earth and the founders of science, worldly science, and education didn't want humans to know our full capabilities? They wanted to hide it from us. That could also be true. It's up for debate. The lymphatic system was taught in the 1700s and 1800s. Then it kind of got poo-pooed. It made a resurgence in the 1940s and the 1980s, especially with natural practitioners, chiropractors, homeopaths, naturopaths, massage therapists. And again, medical community and scientists kind of like laughed at us, but it started gaining some steam when some oncologists decided, we can make a buck off of this. After chemotherapy, after all the surgeries, we can get the circulation going again. And there might be something to this lymphatic system, but it didn't take full center stage until neuroscientists came along and found out that there were some teeny little vessels in the brain that happen to carry lymph fluid. So now we have this taught in medical school and physical therapy school, and people are using it not only for oncology, but they're using it for beautification, for anti-inflammation, for acne treatment, for pre- and post-surgical interventions to stop scarring or lower scarring and quicken healing. And now it's a thing. But it was poo-pooed for a very long time, as were trigger points. Trigger points is very big in Eastern medicine, and it is utilized in massage therapy, chiropractic, homeopathic, naturopathic, all of the alternative medicine spaces, and the medical community and that entire industry poo-pooed it away. If you can't take a pill for it, then it certainly cannot exist, right? If you can't make money off of it. But eventually they had to concede to the fact that yes, referred pain and trigger points are a real thing. It is stuck tissue, and there you go, little dollar signs attached to that. And now they teach that in physical therapy school and in medical school. Same thing with fascia. This is starting to gain more popularity, but it's still not addressed the way it needs to be addressed, in my opinion. Just in my opinion. But as soon as the medical industry and the scientists can figure out a way to make money on something or prescribe a pill to treat something, you will see the popularity on that topic just surge. Now, it's not because these people didn't know about it, or didn't they know about it? And that kind of goes to the topic of today. How do we know what we know? A lot of people like to cling on to narratives. This is why I like to reverse engineer my thinking, and this is why I love to get other people's opinions, not just documentation from textbooks, from articles, from documentation from the people that have the letters behind their name. Because I don't trust the people that have letters behind their name based on my pattern recognition. A lot of the articles that we rely on come from people that are very deep into the very industries that have been proven to be liars. The medical industry has proved to us over and over again that they are greedy and that they are liars, and it is the system of things to extract from humanity. All guised with the label of healing and help and aid. Same thing with the government. You're really going to trust a government that redacts information from the public, that taxes the public and divvies it out with going to places that we have no vote on? You can't really trust the documentation, and that's why I am very, not lackadaisical, but I'm very casual with my deep dives. I laugh a lot at things. It's because I don't hold on to anything tightly. To me, holding on to a narrative is like holding on to oil. It's going to have a little residue, but it's going to slip right through your fingers. You know, information can change, whether it's been information that's been held back purposefully or whether it's human ignorance. We don't have all of the information, and the information we do have has been presented to us in a form in which our tiny little human minds can absorb, because we put ourselves in a little box. So I love doing the deep dives. I love diving into conspiracy theories, see what I can debunk, see, you know, and I've done that in all of my aspects of life, including career, and also in my faith. Yes, of course, I'm going to talk about Christianity, as usual. But a lot of people are surprised that I'm a big fat Jesus freak. I even had one Jehovah's Witness say, you know, you're so smart with everything else. How can you be so stupid when it comes to religion? And I was like, wow. Because I ask questions about who wrote your supplementary books, and I ask you to explain your faith to me and you can't, so that's what you come at me with. Like, when I say I have an open mind, I have an open mind. I will listen to anybody, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. So I will talk to Jehovah's Witnesses. I'll talk to anybody. But you have to be able to give me some type of proof, not just it's in the book. Because I don't know who wrote it. I don't know what their agenda is. And I don't want to repeat what I said during the third Noahide Law video, or the first or the second one. But again, I can't really pick a hill to die on until I have all the information. And when information is always changing, or the basis of fact is coming from the very industries, people, and complexes that have been known to falsify information and lie to people, why on earth am I going to go balls to the wall or nothing at all with my way of thinking? This is why I like to say that all things can be true. People have different perspectives on the same topic. In order for me to formulate an idea or a thought or a narrative or hypotheses on anything, I like to get a ton of different information, because my way isn't the only way. The way that I think isn't the only way to think. Now, when I do the deep dives and I go on these rabbit hole expeditions, you are overloaded with data, and I love data. I love learning, but I've also come to the resolve that don't take it too seriously, because how do I know any of the information that I'm getting and deeming as fact is actual fact? I depend on wisdom and discernment from God, because God proved himself even though he didn't have to. And when I look outside, it is proven to me. And with my health ailments, God proved it to me. And if I listened to everything that was documented in the medical industry, I would be dead, long gone. With all of these inventions, we'll put an implant here, we'll do this here, we'll do a surgery here, take this prescription, this prescription, this prescription, eat this, don't eat this. If I would have listened to them, I would be dead. Instead, I relied on my own intuition and the wisdom and discernment that the Holy Spirit gave me. And I think that that's what every human has, and we are putting ourselves in our own little box. If we truly believe that we have been made magnificently, if we truly believe that we are body, mind, and spirit, that we're made of flesh, that we're made by design, which I don't know how you can not believe we are magnificently designed. Neither here nor there. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It doesn't make logical sense to me, though, if you don't believe that God created us. But if you believe in energy, vibration, electricity, then, and you do believe that we can do everything that Jesus did and more, then why do we need a checklist of things to do? And why do we need to know how to be a little ninja? with our psychology and our mindset and a ninja with how to take care of our bodies. Like, why would we need to do that if we truly believe that God gave us all the tools that we need and he gave us the guidebook and how to utilize it? There's a lot of leaning on our own understanding these days and then leaning on other people's understanding. But just like my deep dives and everything else, I did the deep dives into the Bible, and the Bible tells you exactly what to wear, what to eat, how to move your body, who to have sexual relations with, how to pray, how to treat one another, how to solve an argument. It's all right there. And if you follow it, there won't be a problem because I trust God. God made our bodies adaptable, yes, but God knows the beginning and the end, and I think people have forgotten that. So everything that's happened to society today, you think that's news to God? You think he's just going to be like, oh, you're on your own. I made you fantastically, now you're on your own. Figure it out on your own. No. He inspired the book so that we'd have no excuse. So when God says to move your body, move your body. Synovial fluid, joints, muscles, fibers, twitching, neurons firing. It's magnificent. And it keeps your fascia healthy. And it keeps your bones nice and dense. Oh, it's almost like it's designed that way. When God says, like, don't eat, bottom feeders. Okay, well, shellfish might taste good, but what does it do for your body? Nothing good. Pork, does it help you in any way? No. When it says have a little wine for what ails you, that makes perfect sense. What is fermented juice? Wine. Fermentation, good for the gut, the enteric system, for the good bacteria. It's almost like it's by design. It comes to the clothes that you wear. Like, you can walk around in spandex all you want, but what does that do? Clogs your lymphatic system, clogs your pores, doesn't allow you to sweat freely, which hinders your cooling system, and it hinders a lot of other automatic responses. But when you wear linen that matches or increases the human vibration, or pure wool, that does the same thing. And don't mix them together because then it's not as good. Now, all these things that I'm mentioning, it's not sinful to do. I mean, when you want to wear your cotton poly blend, okay, I do all the time. But it's funny that if you want to live optimally and you don't want to have parasites and you don't want to have infection and you don't want to have illness and you don't want to be infirm when you're old and you want to have a sharp mind and you want to stay creative, and he gave you everything that you need. It worked thousands of years ago. It works today. And I still believe that everything that we're seeing today, we've always had. It's just been censored from us. I don't want to get into the founding fathers and the Freemasonry and the British rule and all that. If you're curious about that, we can have a conversation. But you need to start taking the step back and realizing everything that you think you know, you don't. And I get caught up in it too. Like, I love research. I love it because it's ideas. But again, I'm never going to say, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm never going to do that except when it comes to Jesus. But I would never deliver it that way. If you're not a Jesus freak, of course I'm not going to deliver anything like that. But no one will ever sway me on that. That's why I say when you unpack everything, it really goes back to God and how he designed us, and Satan, who hates us because we're made in his image. There are angels, there are demons. All things can be true. Electricity gets funky when there's demonic spirits around. Oh, it's almost like it's by design. Like, all of it works together. And to concentrate on one thing void of another thing, I think is, in my opinion, foolish. Because that's putting humanity in a box while we complain about humanity being put in a box. It is complaining about being lied to and being treated like little children and being taken over by communists when we're just readily accepting anything the government, NASA, medical complex, military industrial complex, anything they put out, gold, tangible, it's real. We're relying on those history books. We're relying on those anatomy books from college. Don't get me started. Okay, okay, I'll make it quick. I promise. In all of my books, because I save all of them, right? Even high school. In the biology books, they had the heart. Where's the heart? Oh, hand over the heart. Even on my little vitamin mineral chart right here, same thing. Where's the heart? Right here. You look now in modern books with those diagrams, where's the heart? Oh, dead center. Oh. In my old books with anatomy, where are the kidneys? Well, that's how we detected flank pain, right? And kidney stones. You know, lower back, on the sides. Yeah. You look now, where are they? Right under the rib cage. No lower. I'm like, huh? This is what I'm saying. Like, you can't hold on to anything. This is why you have all this Mandela effect stuff, because everyone's like holding on to things. Will information be changed? Yes. Will it be changed out of ignorance? Yes. Will it be changed because the jig is up? Yes. Because we have been lied to about everything, and I think it's funny that some people will get on the soapbox and say, oh no, this is real. This is real, and all of this is not real. Okay. So you trust all of that. You trust NASA. You trust that. And you're laughing at me because I trust the Bible. Okay. I trust pattern recognition. I trust Holy Spirit, wisdom, discernment, and I trust what is provable in my life. And even now, I'm weary on even trusting my own vision, my own hearing, my own taste, and my own smell. With those senses, I'm weary right now because AI vibration, direct energy, toxins in the air, nanoparticle smart dust, toxins in the food, nanoparticle smart dust. Like, we have a lot of things thrown at us to try and fool us. And again, when we unpack it, the question is why? Why are you trying to fool humanity? Why do people want to live forever? Why are people chasing the bag and need to be rich? Why is everyone prideful? Why does everyone have to be right in their own sight? Like, our values, like, why is any of this happening? It goes back to Satan. It's not hard. It's really not hard. Nothing in this world makes sense unless you attribute it to that Satan is the god of this world right now with God's permission. And because we willingly gave up our power and domain over the earth as soon as humanity stopped listening to God. And now everyone stopped listening to God. And I'm sitting back. This is why I'm very casual with everything. I kind of laugh at everything now. Because to me, everything, it's not a matrix. It's all a delusion. Because everything's a distraction at this point. Okay, I'll give you an example. I know I'm rambling again. I got to work on the rambling. I know. But I ran into one of my clients today. Last week, he was going through a rough time. And we did cardio together. And we were just talking through stuff. And he was, he's not feeling good. He's depressed. He's got all this stuff going on. He's got all these plans. I got to change my diet here. And I just said, from everything that you're saying, there's only one thing that you need to do. And he's like, well, what? And I said, my opinion is that you just need to get out of your environment. You need to be surrounded with people that want to see you excel. Because I said, you're in your 30s now. You're still hanging around people in your 20s that knew you in your 20s. You said you were a hot mess in your 20s. You've been miserable since your 20s, and you feel like you were like constipated in life. And you're made for more. And I'm saying, you are made for more. And instead of just addressing the fact that you probably just need to eliminate some people from your life, change like your job situation or home situation, you're concentrating on changing your food, changing your clothes, changing your job, I'm like, what's the point? You know, you'll make more money, you'll have better clothes, you'll have a fitter body, but still around toxic people that want to keep you small. You know, I gave him a hug on the way out. I saw him today. He came in with the biggest smile on his face, and he was just like, you know what? I put in my 2 weeks at my job. I'm going back to my old job where I was happier. They're all happy to have me back. It was so wonderful. Like I got rid of 2 of my friends. I finally just told them, instead of just taking it and beating myself up and trying to tolerate their stuff, I just came out and told them. And he's like, as soon as I did that, someone from college actually called me that I haven't heard from in years, and we're going to be hanging out. And he's super positive. It's like, I said, you made room for the positivity. And I said, now is not the time to start putting tasks on your plate. Enjoy this. It will naturally happen. And I brought up the example of when I take on a new client in personal training. I always ask my client, do you want to do the exercise first or the diet? I will never address both at the same time. And he asked me why, and I said, well, because it's an overload, and it's too much stress, and it's too much pressure. And then you peak too early, and then you plateau too early, and then you have to battle the mind with a lot of things. People get in funks, and they end up quitting. So he's like, well, what do you recommend? I said, always exercise first. I said, when you get everything moving, everything starts feeling better. And then we know what trigger points are actually in there and what's just from being sedentary and what's from depression, what's from emotional tension and trauma trapped in the muscles. When you move, you're loosening everything up. You're getting all your flow. Your fascia is getting healthier. Your blood pressure, your neurons are firing. And I said, when that happens, naturally the diet follows suit without me having to do anything. Sometimes I don't even need to guide them on their diet at all, because I will work their butt off in the gym, and they realize if I go to McDonald's after this, then I just wasted that entire workout. And they'll go to McDonald's, and they'll do it a couple times, and they'll beat themselves up in their own head until they decide, I'm not going to McDonald's, I'm going to go to Chipotle, get a chicken bowl instead. They start making better choices on their own. And it happens organically, it happens naturally, because God gives us the pacing, the timing, the intuition, and the bodily adaptation that we need at the appropriate time. When I ask people to do the diet first, I'm very regimented, and it's timed, and it's it's a certain amount of calories, it's a certain types of food depending on their makeup and on their goals. And when I guide on that, I said a lot of people stress out about getting it right. And what does that do? Increases their cortisol levels. And what does increased cortisol levels do? Holds on to belly fat and increases inflammation in the system, which makes you feel even fatter. And then you have to deal with the mental aspect of things again, where people feel defeated. So I said everything comes in steps, and people are highly adaptable, but you have to go with patterns. You know, what's that old saying? You put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. You can have a bad situation and put lipstick on it and do like 1 or 2 things in your life that seem good. But if you haven't taken care of the pig, putting lipstick on it isn't going to do anything. And that's what I see going on in the world today. People are freaking out about AI. I think you already know. We've had it this whole time. So you're trying to put a positive spin on AI. That's great, but it's still AI. You want to look at transhumanism like, oh yeah, great, like we won't have to like take vitamins anymore, it's all under our skin, great. And okay, but it's still under your skin, freaking technology being morphed with human tissue, like human anatomy, like religion, same thing. You know, God's all merciful and forgiving, yeah, but don't forget the vengeful part of like, hey, I told you what you need to do, like I can't help you anymore, you're skipping steps here. Like, telling you, I'll aid you here, but like, yeah. I mean, people are really putting the cart before the horse with a lot of things, and they're eliminating the natural intuition, wisdom, discernment, and makeup from God. Now, I know there's a lot going on in the world. When there's the wildfire smokes, yeah, it smells like garbage, it's chemicals. I know what's going on. You know what's going on technologically. You know what's going on vibrationally. What do? Not much. I don't change much at all. I eat natural, make sure my enteric system's up to par, move my body every single flippin' day. I got back to doing my karaoke and singing because I know the vibration, that definitely helps too. I'm praying boldly, I'm getting outside at least 2 to 3 times a day. I'm spending segmented time with my puppy just to pet her and talk to her and relax with her. Do a little massaging on the ears for her, make sure she's taken care of. I purposefully take time apart on walks to stop at certain houses, to check on certain neighbors, to have the human connection. Even with my mediation work, same thing. I make sure instead of putting my camera off in between cases, I'll say, can you put me in the pool of the mediator so we can all talk? And we get in there and we get into some great conversations. Again, more connections. And of course, I'm kind of like the oddball. I talk about weird stuff. But they like it and they keep asking questions. And I ask them a ton of questions too. Because it's all stretching of the mind, getting different perspectives. And because I'm not afraid of what people think of me, I can go ahead and talk about, Claude. And I could talk about the data centers, and I could talk about marijuana use in the state of Michigan. And I mean, you can talk about the things of the world. I just tend to unpack things more and then get other people's ideas. Again, because all the data that we have are just people's ideas written down and co-signed by a group of other people. What do we really know? What do we really know? Nothing. We're in this time where history is changing, facts are changing, data is changing, and to hold on too tightly to a narrative is stressful and, in my opinion, foolish. There is room for everything. And I think that is going to be my mantra for the rest of the year. Everything can be true and probably is. I don't like to eliminate anything, and I don't think anybody should eliminate it. Like, reverse engineer your thinking. Instead of looking at something and saying, okay, there's a part of it, let's do a deep dive on this one part and see if it's true, and then we'll move on to the next part and see if that's true, and then later on connect the dots. I do the opposite, and I always recommend this. See what possibly could be 4 different truths, and then go diving. Is this legitimate? Have I seen this with my own eyes? Do I know people in that industry? Can I ask them how it works? And then you can kind of do process of elimination to come to certain things. This is how I go about life. This is how I go about ideas and thinking and hypotheses and little studies that I do and experiments that I do with myself and other people. And sometimes it works out great. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's not so great. But it's all a learning process. And because I don't need to be right, and I don't need for people to do things my way, and because I love other people's personal, experiential data, that keeps information gathering very light. Keeps it very light, because at any time, it could change. You got to be malleable. You got to be able to move with it. You got to be able to morph with it and be humble enough to admit when you're wrong, and be encouraging enough to get people to feel comfortable enough to divulge what they truly think about topics. What do you really think about no-hide laws? What do you really think about politics? What do you really think about technology? Life is very interesting. We make it too complicated. We put ourselves in a box. We put God in a box. But we don't know anything. The quicker we come to that realization, the better off we're going to be. Go with your intuition. Go with your wisdom and discernment. And if anything makes you angry, get it out of your system as soon as possible. If anything makes you feel bad, get it out of your system as soon as possible. If you've done something wrong to somebody, apologize as soon as possible. And I know it sounds pie in the sky, and I know it sounds, okay, Mr. Rogers, but because we've forsaken that way of doing things, that's why we're in the mess we're in today. All the confusion, all the lies, everyone going down rabbit holes, everyone trying to figure it out. And I'm like, there is no checklist. Just like there's no checklist to go to God and get to heaven, there is no checklist on how to not navigate this world right now. What works for one person isn't going to work for a bunch of other people. Why? Because everybody's physiology is different. Everybody's traumas are different. Everybody's experiences are different. I know this in training. I know it in massage therapy. Just because some moves and techniques work with one person does not mean it's working with another person. There are too many factors. So you have to listen to your body, take suggestions, try them out, and don't try to be a people pleaser just because you want to be on a team. We're all just people here. We're going to be right sometimes, we're going to be wrong sometimes. Don't trust everything that you read, see, hear, see in social media. Start diving within. Especially read the Bible. Have a great day.